The US does not legally believe Venezuela owes it all. What exists instead is a long history of US corporate control, loss of control and political pressure after Venezuela reclaimed its own resources. What you're seeing today is about who controls oil flows, contracts and influence, not stolen barrels. The real history behind it, one. Venezuela's oil was once dominated by US companies. In the early mid-1900s, US and European oil giants, especially Exxon, controlled much of Venezuela's oil. They extracted oil, took most profits, paid relatively small royalties. Venezuela remained poor despite massive oil wealth. This was legal colonial economics, not theft, but it bred resentment too. Venezuela nationalized its oil, 1976. Venezuela created PDVSA and took control of production. Key point, the oil always belonged to Venezuela. Nationalization was legal under international law. US companies lost favorable terms, not ownership of the country. From this moment forward, the relationship shifted from partner, adversary. 3. Hugo Chavez changed the rules, 1999-2030. When Hugo Chavez came to power, royalties and taxes on foreign oil companies increased. Social programs were funded with oil revenue. US influence sharply declined. Chavez openly opposed US foreign policy. This wasn't stealing oil, it was ending preferential access. 4. Why the US narrative hardened from the US government and corporate lens. Billions in projected profits were lost. Existing contracts were rewritten. Venezuela aligned with Russia, China, Iran. Oil became a geopolitical weapon, not just a commodity. So the framing quietly shifted from "we lost business advantages" to "their illegitimate, corrupt, mismanaging oil." 5. Sanctions and pressure, 2014 present. Under Nicolás Maduro, the US imposed heavy sanctions, froze assets, blocked oil sales. Recognized an alternative leader, Juan Guaido. Why? Not because oil was stolen, but because control over oil markets was lost. Sanctions didn't punish theft, they attempted regime pressure. So where does the "they owe us oil" idea come from? It's implicit, not official. Lost contracts equals unfair treatment. Nationalization equals hostile action. Independent oil policy equals threat to global order. No court ruling says Venezuela owes oil to the US. No treaty grants the US ownership rights. It's power memory, not law. The deeper layer, unspoken truth, oil isn't just fuel, it's currency backing, military leverage, global influence, supply chain control. Venezuela sits on the largest proven oil reserves on Earth, Orinoco Belt. Any independent control of that scale challenges US dominance. That's the real tension, bottom line. Venezuela did not steal US oil. Venezuela reclaimed control over its own resources. The US lost economic and strategic leverage, sanctions and narratives followed. This is a power struggle, not a theft case. Each sentence can be long if the input requires it, but must not exceed 30 words. If a sentence is longer, split it into 2 or more natural sentences without altering the content.